Hey folks, Dr. John Raymond Baker. I'm a chiropractic doctor in Longview, Texas, and today is March 13, 2013, and 3/13/13 for the numerology folks. And the big news that monopolized CNN today was white smoke came out of the vents at the Vatican and a new pope was chosen, which I know to a lot of people is really interesting news. However, to me, there was more important news as far as I was concerned that has more possible global sequelae. I love that word here lately. And that is something that I read on March 11th. And it's about something that happened last year, specifically on December the 29th, 2012. Now on that date, a fireball blazed across the skies over Sri Lanka, specifically over the region of Polonnaruwa, and pieces of it dropped off, and the folks that were near the overfly reported smelling a strong odor of tar or asphalt. Now what happened was there were a lot of fragments that dropped off, and at the local police in that area started collecting samples. And they took these samples and forwarded them to, I'll probably read a little bit from this, the Sri Lankan Medical Research Institute at the Ministry of Health in Colombo. Now, they noticed, the people there noticed some really interesting, odd things about these particular fragments. Decided it would be a good idea to forward these on for further analysis to astrobiologists at the University of Cardiff in the United Kingdom. And they did that, and the results of the test, which the Cardiff team revealed on the 11th, as far as that's when I read the report, they categorized as being extraordinary. The stones, they say, contained fossilized biological structures fused into the rock matrix, and that their tests clearly rule out the possibility of terrestrial, aka earthly, contamination. In total, Jamie Wallace at the Cardiff University and a few buddies received 628 rock samples. Of these, they narrowed it down to 3 that they could say were meteorites. And the general properties of these 3 stones immediately marked them as unusual. This is from, not me saying that, this is Jamie Wallace and crew. According to them, one stone, for example, had a density of less than 1 gram per cubic centimeter, less than all known carbonaceous meteorites. It had a partially fused crust, good evidence of atmospheric heating, a carbon content of up to 4%, and contained an abundance of organic compounds with a high molecular weight, which is not unknown in meteorites. On this evidence, Wallace and company think the fireball was probably a small comet. The most startling claims, however, based on electron microscopic images of structures within the stones, and within the original article they had pictures. I didn't copy those, but you can go to Google and check them out for yourself. They say one image shows a complex, thick-walled, carbon-rich microfossil about 100 micrometers across that bears similarities with a group of largely extinct marine dynoflagellate algae. And again, they're saying that this appears, from all they can tell, that it's not of terrestrial, not of earthly origin, but they have these structures in here that look very much like extinct marine dynoflagellate algae. They say another image shows well-preserved flagella, those whip-like appendages on cells, that are 2 micrometers in diameter, 100 micrometers long. By earthly standards, that's extremely long and thin, which Wallace and company interpret as evidence of formation in a low-gravity, low-pressure environment. Again, arguing possibly for a non-terrestrial origin. Wallace and company also measured the abundance of various elements in the samples to determine their origin. they say that low levels of nitrogen in particular rule out the possibility of contamination by modern organisms, which would have a much higher nitrogen content. The fact that these samples are also buried within the rock matrix is a further evidence, they say. And I'm not an astrobiologist, but I would tend to agree that if you've got something that's already buried within a rock matrix, probably wasn't picked up on the ground as it bounced along. Wallace and company are convinced that the lines of evidence they have gathered are powerful and persuasive. And quoting them, "This provides clear and convincing evidence that these obviously ancient remains of extinct marine algae found embedded in the Polonnaruwa meteorite are indigenous to the stones and not the result of post-arrival microbial contaminants," they conclude. Again, basically saying it was already there before it hit the ground. There's no question that the claim of this kind is likely to generate controversy. Yeah, I would agree with that. Critics already pointed out that the stones could have been formed by lightning strikes on Earth, but Wallace and company already countered that there was no evidence of lightning at the time of the fireball, and that in any case the stones don't bear the usual characteristics of this lightning strike thing. What's more, the temperatures generated by lightning would have destroyed any biological content. If the paper is taken at face value, one obvious question that arises is, where did these samples come from? Wallace and company have their own ideas, quoting again from them, "The presence of fossilized biological structures provides compelling evidence in support of the theory of cometary panspermia first proposed over 30 years ago." And let me just kind of take a break and say what cometary panspermia is. Panspermia is the idea that life on Earth came here from other places, that it hitched a ride, if you want to use a clumsy analogy, on celestial bodies such as comets or whatever, and fell to Earth and found a hospitable environment, and that it flourished. And cometary, of course, would be a cometary. The comet was the vehicle. Either way, considerably more work will have to be done, yada yada. Now, that, as I said, I believe I found on the 11th of March. I believe on the 12th, the day after, or maybe it was today, I can't recall. But there was a lot of news articles about the fact that apparently Mars used to have a hospitable environment, far different than the Martian environment that we see today. And by hospitable, I mean one that could have sustained living organisms. So basically, we've got two different articles that suggest for possible extraterrestrial life forms having existed, at least in the past, possibly, may still exist. And I think that's really interesting. I don't think personally, just to interject my own feelings, I don't believe we're alone in the universe. I believe there are other life forms on other planets, and that possibly they're actually intelligent. Maybe they're beyond the one-cell stage. Certainly looking around some of the news items I find in newspapers, I hope there's intelligent life elsewhere. Why they're coming here, I'm not real sure, but anyway, just hitching a ride on a comet. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick was news today that the FDA has put out a warning that the antibiotic Zithromax, what most of you might know it as Z-Pak, may put you in danger of having heart arrhythmias, that cardiac arrhythmias may be a side effect of taking Z-Pak. And I think one article actually said that it possibly could contribute to death in susceptible individuals. I guess that's folks that already have heart problems and start taking Z-Pak for an infection. Anyway, passing along the FDA warning for what it's worth about Z-Pak and heart arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats. So, I hope you're having a good day. It's Wednesday. I might come up with another news break before Friday. But thanks for watching the video. Hope you're having a good evening. Bye-bye.